Okay, I think it is 5 o'clock. And we are recording. I'd like to call to order our May 9th Public Library Board meeting. Welcome. Um, so first we'd like to do just a call to order, and make sure that folks are here. Larry,
Here.
Tony,
Here.
Alana,
Here.
and Mandy, our city council rep.
Here.
All right. Well, thanks to everyone for being here on this beautiful day. We'll look to do an approval of the order of agenda.
So moved.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Order of agenda passes. Any public comment?
Nope, we
No
haven't
public
received any
comment for
requests.
today. Okay. Next we'll move to our consent agenda. So we are looking for an approval of the consent agenda, including approval of minutes and approval of financial reports.
So
I'll
moved.
make that.
Okay, go, Alana.
Alana, you got
Move.
it?
Yep. I move to approve.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. All right, consent agenda passes. Thank you. We will move to our regular agenda for new business. We have the piano policy and the rescinding of the piano policy, and it is an action item. So, Jenna, if you'd like to just, I've read through the notice here, but if you want to go through it maybe a little bit.
Yeah, so we had a digital keyboard with weighted keys that had been donated years ago. It had been used in one of our meeting rooms. People could reserve that. It had been broken for a while. I fixed it and discovered as I was fixing it that it was just going to keep breaking. More and more of the keys were going to keep breaking. So it was sold in as-is condition at our last Friends of the Library book sale. And now that we don't have a piano anymore, we're looking to get rid of that policy. We were not interested in replacing the piano as it hadn't been used for quite some time, and we hadn't had requests for it either.
Thank you. So we are looking for an action to approve the rescinding of the piano policy and remove it from our policy list.
So moved.
I'll
Second.
it.
All right, I got Mandy on second. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right, that motion passes. Thank you. Next we have our preliminary budget review.
Yeah, let's get that pulled up here. While I'm pulling it up, I just wanted to comment that there are a few things, a few numbers on this report that are going to change. So one being, we don't know for sure what the construction costs of the potential satellite location in WEX will be yet. We've been working on that. Hold on here. I had the wrong one pulled up.
While you're looking, is that available to have a look at by so inclined? Or isn't there anything to look at yet?
The WEX location?
Yeah.
Yes, so we can set up a time. I can bring you over, borrow a key and bring you over there. I also have a printout of the floor plan of the first floor that we can take a peek at.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Just gotta share my screen now. Sorry, board. This is fighting with me. Here we go. All right. Are you seeing a big ugly budget document with some purple in the corner?
Yes.
And if you look down at the bottom, you'll notice that the totals are quite a bit higher than what we had projected for this year. So one of the reasons that is because I have included 180,000 for our carpet replacement and the construction costs at WEX. So there's a placeholder of 50,000 in there for WEX construction costs, and then the 130 for library carpet replacement. After talking with city administration, they recommended putting that in the capital improvements line. So capital improvements come out of a different pot than our mill levy. So that's going to be the first recommendation to city commission to fund those things, is to take that out of capital improvement. If they say no and they don't want that included, then it's still in here and would be coming from our mill levy. Yes, Alana.
Can you, when you're talking about the lines, instead of us reading it, can you maybe say the account number, the 3-digit account number, so we can find it quicker?
Sure. So capital improvements is 653 down towards the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's the 180,000.
Okay.
Jumping back up to the top, let's kind of work our way through a little bit. Highlighted in purple are our salary costs and other costs that are connected to our salary lines. So for permanent, that's our full-time salaries. We're looking at 1.2, just over 1.2 million for those. And part-time salaries, there's a little bit of a decrease there. The decrease that we're seeing is not because we've reduced part-time positions, but when we promoted a part-time person into a full-time position, then that position is going to go back to a step 1. So that's where that decrease is coming in there. The Social Security, retirement, workforce safety insurance, all of those are just tied with a formula to those other 2 lines. The next purple one down there, so we're looking at 320 health insurance.
Yeah.
That number, 375,000, is way high. That number is if we were budgeting for every single one of our full-time employees to get family coverage, so the maximum that it would possibly be. I think before we actually approve this as our preliminary budget and forward it to City Commission, we can bring that closer to reality, so it's less of a jump scare for City Commission. In just looking at our current staff and what they've shared about their family, so I know, who's married, who has kids, things like that. I think we can take 105,000 off of that line and still be in good shape. Yeah. Board. So at this point, those are kind of the big things. I'm wondering, how much detail do you want me to go in line by line here? Or are there particular items of interest that you wanted to look at?
Where are subscriptions on this budget?
By subscriptions, are you talking about like our periodical subscriptions or e-resources?
E-resources.
E-resources is line 650. So that's dropping down from 53,000 to just over 42,000. That was with the change we made eliminating Hoopla and investing more in Libby.
Okay.
Libby is much more cost effective.
Any magazine databases?
Most of that is through the state library, and so it's not
okay.
individual subscriptions that we pay there. Mm-hmm.
I'll have
So
to
this-
get out of the academic library mindset now that I'm not
You
there.
mean the state library is paying for that aspect of it, or?
There are several databases that we have access to through that, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So e-resources, goodbye to Libby. or goodbye to Hoopla, rather.
Goodbye to Hoopla. Yep.
We never had Canopy.
We do have Canopy through the state library now.
Okay.
So that's a streaming
Yeah.
service.
All right. Dandy, thank you very much.
Yes. Let's see. There's a modest increase to our books budget and a few other similar lines. Primarily, that's just inflation, increased shipping costs. I see a hand up from Mandy.
Yes, thank you. Just a question. So with the capital improvements with the carpet and the wax fit up, I'm just wondering, just so I'm clear, was it your intention to go to the commission and either ask for money out of capital improvement sales tax or an increase in the mill levy? Or just so I'm understanding that part.
So we're kind of stepping it down. It's a three-part. So we're going to ask for inclusion in the FY25 capital improvement plan. If we get a no there, then it will be a mill levy ask because it's still going to be in our budget. It's on that capital improvement line because that's where it would be billed to, but it would not be coming out of that capital improvement tax dollar pot. It would just be coming out of our, general funds.
Okay, yeah, I just know personally as a commissioner voting, I would rather have it come out of the general the general fund or something like that versus have an increase in the mill levy if that's possible. So
yeah. So that's why we're asking for capital improvement dollars first.
Okay,
and then it would be the mill levy increase. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, to me the mill levy increase would be the last option. So
Yep. We could also just ask for like a one-time bump, kind of like we did when we added our 2 staffing positions this year, to cover those things out of the reserve, the city's general fund reserve.
Okay, yep, okay, perfect. All right, thanks.
Yeah. With WEX in mind, there are a few other things that have increased. So our building rental line, that's 333. That's gone up from 124,000 to about 156,000. That's including the increase for what our part of the lease agreement for that WEX building would be. The rent is anticipated at too many screens up here. So a 3% annual increase for our main library, and then WEX, it's $18.83 per square foot, estimated at 1,500 square feet. And then we could expect a general increase in line with the city every year for that one as well.
So with that in mind, I'm noticing that there's no increases in telephone or anything like that. Is that how are we going to fit up that space and pay for that? I know capital improvements, but I'm just saying the regular monthly bills.
Normal monthly bills. Telephone is, I need to get that number from IT still, so that one could go up slightly, adding a line there. There's also potential for the city to move away from their current telephone service to a different one, probably going through Microsoft Teams, so it's more internet based. And we don't have those numbers quite yet for that, which is why I'm not asking for a preliminary budget approval tonight. Just mostly answering a lot of questions here.
You know what the telephone service is from currently?
I don't know.
Okay.
Alicia, if she's on, she could answer that for us.
Just mentioning that jump to Teams just sounds kind of interesting if it's from a landline standard.
A lot of businesses have done that, going to voice over internet protocol instead of.
I've used that a lot
hardline
myself, so I'm not.
We would need to add a fax line. That for sure is going to be an expense. IT has said we should estimate $80 per month to add a fax line in that satellite location. We do get a lot of people coming in wanting to fax things. Some things that I have included for WEX, just like furniture wise, I have 10,000 in there for a service desk to be added and some other pieces. We've included the additional computers that would need to be added for that space. Some of them will be able to take from our current locations. For example, there's a catalog computer that's not used frequently in our current location. We have three total, so we would take one out and move to the WEX building to save a few dollars there. And then that would just be put in our normal replacement schedule. So the plan is for 2 public computers, a catalog computer, a computer for a staff member. Remember, it's going to be a small spot, so. What else?
When, this isn't really looked at until the fall, right? Or late summer, early fall by the commission?
July. So we're
Oh.
going to want to approve our preliminary budget at our next meeting in June. So that can be included in the city's preliminary budget. And that's where that first stab at a mill levy will be set. And we can only go down from that point. We can't go up. So
Yes.
one of the reasons some of these numbers, like our health insurance, is a little bit higher is because I want to make sure we're not selling ourselves short by trying to be too exact. We could always have somebody get married, you know, and life changes affecting some of these numbers. A lot of the lines we were able to keep pretty flat or just have a really modest increase to account for inflation, shipping costs, just general growth. Our insurance went up a little bit in anticipation of our new vehicle being added. Oil and gas costs, again, the same. Anticipating that we're expanding that outreach more for season instead of just the summer being our big push. So at the end of the day, with these numbers here, if we know that the health insurance for sure is going to be probably 105,000 less than what's showing on this screen. If the city approves paying for carpet and construction at the newly leased city hall, and that's coming out of capital improvement, we can take 180,000 off of there. Between those two, that's $285,000 that'll come off of that bottom line there. We don't know for sure, Mandy could correct me if I'm wrong, but the anticipated value of a mill is 271. I don't know that that's set yet, but that's an anticipated number. So if we get 8.4 mills, the same as we had last year, that number is going to be close to 2.3 million would be our income from the city there. And so that would be 219,000 beyond what the mills would cover in this budget. When we also look at the 2 positions that we added, the circulation manager and our outreach coordinator, we told the city commission that we were going to have an increase to the salary and benefits lines of $174,556. So they knew that was coming already. If you take that into consideration too, we're really only asking for a $24,000 increase. That is really minimal, I think, from a $2.2 million budget. So we have some one-time costs that are kind of big, look a little scary, but really at the end of the day, we're asking for a really modest increase in our general operating costs beyond what they already knew was coming with those two positions. And then we'll just see what happens, what they're comfortable with, and make some adjustments from there. If any of you, after looking at this and taking a little more time, want to set up some time to come in and talk a little bit more in detail about any of these lines, I'm happy to do that as well. Yeah, Mandy?
Yeah, just I guess again from a commission standpoint, like from what you're saying, everything sounds very reasonable. I really like those one-time costs coming out of reserves or capital improvements. It's kind of hard to sometimes, without looking at all of the departments and their needs and their increases, like to get the big picture. It's kind of nice to get that before you say yes, you can have this. But I mean, at where you're at right now, to me it seems very reasonable. So
Thanks. Yeah. All right, board, if we don't have any more questions, then I will turn it back over to President Hansen.
Oh, and I was listening the whole time. So thank you for all the information.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And we appreciate all the work that you've done on that as well. I know that's a lot of work to get ready. Next we do have our director's report. So I'm going to hand it right back to you, Jenna.
Fantastic. Let me switch my screens again. I promise it won't take me as long this time. All right, director's report. Are you all seeing that? Fantastic. All right. Well, with the spring rains, we've noticed that the roof is leaking again in a few spots. The school has been very responsive and is working to solve those problems. There's some talk about replacing a small portion of the roof above where we were seeing some of those leaks. Happily, none of them have been right over the top of our stack, so we haven't had any damage to library materials. It looks a little ugly to have garbage cans out there catching those drips and some fans going and whatnot. We did have the carpets cleaned during our last staff training. There are a few areas that we weren't able to get to because we were only closed for a half day. So we may have them come back a little later in the year to address some of those spots. Finances, that we approved those in the consent agenda, but just like the highlight overview here is we are about 30% expended year to date. So right on track for the first quarter. You might have seen this particular chart in our impact report that was attached. You'll remember last month we said that we were working on the door counter. There were several days that we didn't have a door counter counting our traffic in and out of the library. But once we got that fixed in the beginning of April, that our door count number shot way up. So interestingly, we have had library tours going on with second graders, but that happens every year in April. So the fact that that shot way up, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen the rest of the year with our door count, if that continues to be significantly higher. And perhaps that door counter was aimed incorrectly for a really long time. We don't know.
You'll have to
But-
duly note that in somewhere, so that it's historically known.
Yeah. Yeah. So at our last meeting, when, we said we had approximately 1.2 million visits since we moved into this space in 2005. Very likely it could be much higher than that, but we'll keep track of the door count and the statistics and figure out where that really lies. Some highlights from what's been happening in the library here. Tech Services has been really working hard on our Easy Reader collection. So that is those beginner books that are leveled. They have a color tape on them indicating what reading level they're at, but those colors were not listed in our catalog previously or were inconsistently done. So they've been going through that whole collection, making sure that when people come and look up in the catalog computer for a book, that they know exactly what color section to find that in. We're also working on that with the Little Red Reading Bus collection as well, making sure everything's really consistent across the board. Tech Services has also been keeping track of series that have missing titles here and there, so that as we are placing book orders, we can fill in those titles from some of our popular series. Patrons have been very excited about this. Almost every one that they've filled in those missing teeth on has been put on hold right away or checked out right away. Great team effort on that.
Good.
Our English conversation circles have been working hard to connect with community members, again, promoting that group. And we have seen an increase in attendance for that. I think that's a really important connection point for community members who want to practice their English language skills, and really fits our mission as well. The Books and Brews Book Club has moved to Junkyard in West Fargo, and they've had a real revitalization with increased attendance, and the partnership with Junkyard has been going really smoothly. A recent successful event that Adult Services had was a spring cleaning and decluttering class. It was very well attended. Everyone has asked for us to host this program again. So I think this is the second kind of home organization themed program that they've hosted, and they seem to be very popular with our community. So I'm sure you can look forward to another one of those in the future. When we had the eclipse, our youth services team had a first and second and third grade student eclipse themed party. Lots of different STEM activities and art activities for that. That was well attended. And we have had over 1,100 children visit the library in April for those second grade tours I mentioned just a little bit ago, and also visits from the Eastwood STEM extracurricular program. It is almost summer. I'm sure you can feel it in the air. We have opened up registration for our Summer Boost reading challenges on Beanstack for all ages. So you can go to westfargolibrary.org/summerboost for more information on those. The kickoff party is going to be Thursday, May 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. And our outreach route with the Little Red Reading Bus is going to be starting up on June 3rd. The full schedule for that one is available at thelittleredreadingbus.com. We won't have our new library van quite yet to start off the summer, so we will be starting with the Little Red Reading Bus. We got her started up. She runs, she rides again. But we're really looking forward to replacing that soon. I did also want to share some great news with you. The mayor, Bernie Dardis, was talking to some community funders, and there was interest in a donation to cover the costs of our replacement of that little red reading bus. So board, even though you previously voted to approve the costs for that van replacement, Mayor Dardis was able to get $65,000 from a donor. So more information on that as that develops. I hope, board, that as we're thinking about our budget and some of these harder to cover one-time expenses, that you will consider maybe reallocating the funds that we were going to use to replace a little red reading bus in one of those harder to fund directions. And with that, I stand for any additional questions.
Thank you for that update, Jenna. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the donor for the van. I think that's a fantastic opportunity. Quick question, and it's not part of, I guess it wasn't part of your director's report, nor should it have been. But for those director applications, what was the due date on those?
Oh, yes. The library board applications?
Yeah, yes.
May 31st. So the end of this month is the deadline. We have received 2 applications so far. The link is still active out there and being shared on Facebook as well.
Thank you. Are there additional questions for Jenna? Okay, hearing none. Okay, and then the April monthly impact report.
That's one that we don't generally
Oh,
present. We
you're
just
right.
include
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, okay. Well, that is the end of our agenda. We moved through that very well. I appreciate that. Any additional thoughts or questions?
A big thank you to Ellen and whoever it is she works with to produce the annual report.
Mhm.
I would concur.
Yes.
It looks
Very good.
wonderful.
That looked at, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it from me. So
Okay.
I think there's nothing left for me to do except to move for adjournment.
Do I get to second?
You do.
Okay. I'll do it.
Okay,
you,
we have a
board.
motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. It's good to see all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Aye.
bye.